great. We got to sit through
a commercial.
yeah.
The QuickBooks Self-Employed app allows me to
Can skip in 2 seconds.
Jussie Smollett.
Jussie
Smollett. Okay.
Accent on the second.
Smollett.
Yeah, we got you.
Let's see.
Okay. Oh, you Jussie Smollett.
Okay, so are we rolling now? So here we
so
are.
we're on the before behind the media.
Behind the media. I noticed you have Kleenexes over there. Is there something going on?
Cold. I think I got a cold over the last 24 hours. It's just a common cold. Let's not
how
make
do you know?
it a big
Are
deal.
you like Doctor? First, you're Reverend Jimmy. Now you're Dr. Jimmy.
I played a doctor on TV. I diagnose all the time.
You do.
Especially when you look at an athlete, you can tell. Oh, he
What's
tore his
wrong?
ACL. Oh, there goes his Achilles. Oh, that's
so
a
what about
shoulder.
Tom Brady? What did he mess up that he was playing so poorly most of the season?
He wasn't so poorly. Okay, it was not up to his standards.
Okay, which is poorly if it's not up to his standards.
Well, if he was MVP the year before, that's about as good as you can get.
And he wasn't this year, then something happened. So what was
so
it,
his
Dr.
performance
Jimmy?
went down.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
So, but back to my original. What was
the
it?
reports were it was a strained MCL. Suffered in the 8th or 9th game of the season, and then it healed because a strain of a ligament is like a sprained ankle, a sprained knee.
Yes, sir.
You wrap it up and ice it.
Medical school 101.
Ibuprofen, and those guys, they get the
little
shots.
shot.
Right.
By the way, Jimmy, what's your prediction for the big game?
Well, and I will admit this.
Yes.
I will admit this.
Go ahead.
I am of the opinion that any team that I pick
will lose.
Will usually lose.
So pick the opposite is what you're going to do. Reverse psychology? Is that what you're saying?
That's one of the reasons why I thought Kansas City would win. I also thought going on the road, the Patriots hadn't played well on the road. I mean, I wasn't alone in thinking that they were not going to go into Kansas City and win.
Right.
But they proved it. And now I can honestly say I would never not pick the Patriots in a game, big game.
So that's your way of saying they will win.
They'll win. And they may win convincingly. They've never been in a Super Bowl that hasn't been decided by less than, I think, 5 points. Okay. Every game is always exciting.
So here's what I'm going to do, Jimmy, because I like to win. If we both pick the same thing, then neither wins.
Okay.
So I'm going to go with a flyer here and say the Patriots lose. Okay. I don't have the number, but it's not going to be a blowout either way.
Do you know who they're playing, Dan?
I think it's New Mexico Generals.
I'm sorry. Did I put you on the spot? Did I put you on the spot?
I know who they are.
All right, good.
They used to be in St. Louis. Well, they started in L.A.
Whoa, not only do you know who they are, but
they
you know the history of the team.
They went to St. Louis, and then they ended up back in L.A. again. They have the youngest coach in the history of coaches.
He's half Belichick's age.
Who has a girlfriend who is very beautiful and is like a Hollywood type.
All right.
You didn't know that, did you?
No, I don't read the gossip columns and the the E! Magazine stuff and all that.
And I know that his quarterback's name is Goff.
Jared Goff.
Goff. Okay, I didn't know the first name, but I knew Goff. And everyone's talking about how this is the making of essentially the Belichick Brady thing, although I think it'll be a much friendlier kind of thing.
It's going to be a good football game because the Patriots are always in good football games, and I feel more confident about this game and this matchup with this team than I did the other two.
Well, if you factor in the refs, I don't feel confident at all.
Yeah, no kidding, huh?
Hit it, Steve.
You're tuned in to Behind the Media. Dan Lothian and Jimmy Young bring 70 years of award-winning broadcast experience to the table. From newsrooms across the country, behind anchor desks, and in the field, they've seen and covered it all. And now they are here to take you behind the media.
You're going to have to embrace technology. If you're an educator,
I'm embracing it.
I want you to use the phone to help teach these kids.
You don't need to do that. I was covering the president in China, and we did a behind-the-scenes video. This is a gong, or
no, not a gong, a bong. With a B.
That's right. I said
the
gong.
Gong is a gong show.
I said gong.
Gong
bong.
makes noise.
Bong.
Okay.
Why is it, Jimmy? Why?
Because sex sells, Dan.
True, but it's only part of the answer. It is, you have to be more creative now to be able to tell a story, and sometimes it's just a before and after picture and saying, which one do you want to be? Empire actor Jussie Smollett makes explosive claims about a vicious attack, but why aren't all the pieces of this story falling into place?
Those and these doorbells have eyes, but are they protecting you or invading your privacy? Videos, cops, and Big Brother.
Fighting fake news sounds like a noble venture, but are the good guys being outsmarted?
And bites behind the media, including reporters who freeze to bring you the story. TV for free in an app, and delusional claims from the president linked to a movie.
Oh.
I filled in another word.
Yes, there you go, Mr. Jimmy. Ding-a-ling-a-ling-ling.
Wait. Thank you.
It's freezing outside. It's warm in studio. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Behind the Media. I'm Dan Lothian.
And I'm Jimmy Young.
We find the interesting in media so you don't have to go searching for it. Like us on Facebook. Use the hashtag Behind the Media to engage with us on Twitter. And listen on iTunes, iHeartRadio, and the CLNS Media Network. Today's episode is powered by Away. Thoughtful standards for modern travel. Away makes suitcases for the way we all travel, with features like an ejectable TSA-approved battery or a built-in front pocket. They come in a range of colors and materials that suit your travel style. For $20 off a suitcase, visit awaytravel.com and enter promo code CLNS. So Empire actor Jussie Smollett, I think when it first happened, this story, we all immediately, I know you told me about it,
right.
And we both immediately jumped to conclusions, which still have not been totally debunked, but I think we went down a certain road almost immediately.
It's the old water cooler thing, Dan.
Yes.
You know, hey, did you hear about this actor who got attacked and they put a noose around his neck?
Homophobic slurs,
right, and
screaming.
And there was some kind of a, Make America Great thing involved in this. But
exactly.
That was the original facts of the story.
Those were the facts. And, those were
the facts that were reported by our friends in the media.
Right. Or we could even say this. Those were things that were reported to us as facts.
Because he told that story
to
the police, who treated it as if it was a hate crime.
Exactly. And I think even the FBI was also investigating this as well. I have to say that after you told me about the story, I started just reading about it, and it just didn't feel right. Like there were certain elements, and maybe it's because we're just jaded, that we've heard usually when there's a story that's so fantastical, you then find out that you have to dial it back a little bit. It wasn't as great as we initially thought, or it was made up.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's not giving up his phone, and supposedly part of his story was that he was on the phone with his manager.
At the time,
the way,
right.
It was at, 1:30 in the morning?
In the middle of the night.
2 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah.
Do you have a manager that you would call at 2 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah,
I know. I realize these days these are friends that manage their account and all that. Yeah,
I would say that it all depends. I mean, my agent that was with me until he wasn't, which it's a long story. Lou, I love you. But it is one. I do actually.
Okay,
we haven't
Dan.
talked in a while.
I was going to say,
but Lou and I were friends. Right. I think. I mean, we would.
We were friendly at least.
No, we were friends. He would come over. Yeah, I knew his family, and he would come visit me with his. We'd go out to dinner. I would call him at all sorts of hours if I needed to. If there
Dan,
was
when's the last time you were up at 2 a.m.?
So the other night, my son had his window open, and the wind was blowing like crazy, and it was banging the door, and it woke me up at about 2 a.m.
There you go.
So deliberately staying up at 2 a.m. and walking the streets, no, that doesn't happen that often. I'm not sure I could stay awake.
I was going to say, New Year's Eve, I get through midnight.
Oh, no, yeah, 2 a.m., no, not at all.
I get through midnight. If
gone.
I get to 12:30, I'm happy. But,
Right. No.
Anyway.
So here it is.
We're old.
Yeah, yes,
Sorry.
we are.
It used to be, by the way, back in the day when you would do the 11 o'clock news.
Yeah. Oh, then, yeah.
2 a.m. was bedtime.
Yes, it was. And you were all jacked up from the show anyway.
Right.
So you
Takes
needed
you
to
an
calm
hour,
down.
an hour and a half to calm down,
Right.
whether you're driving back or wherever you are.
Right.
Yeah.
But okay, so this story, I mean, obviously the reason we're talking about it is because it's a Hollywood actor who makes these claims of not only, these homophobic slurs apparently that were being thrown his way, but he's also injured where he has to get some medical attention. And then there's the added component, as everything is, that you have something connected to the president. But I think, in this day and age, it's very simple to fact check everything. We'll be talking later about just how many cameras and things are around that are watching over you. But it's pretty easy for a lot of things to be verified. And one of the reports pointed out that he actually in his initial police report, he didn't mention that they were shouting, MAGA. This is MAGA country or something like that.
Right.
He didn't say that in the first. Don't you find that a little odd? Wouldn't that be your breaking news to police?
And if there's a recording of it on a phone by either the manager's phone or by Jussie's phone, whenever you don't give up the phone, ask Tom Brady this, by the way, people immediately think you're guilty of something, or you've got something on your phone that you don't want anybody to see. Now, let me ask, that's a great question. Dan, do you have anything on your phone that you don't want anybody to see?
No, not really.
By the way, I learned.
I'm pretty boring.
That's right.
I don't think so. I mean, I have stuff I don't want people to see as family stuff, like pictures of my kids and so forth like that. There's no text. There may be business things you don't want people to see that. But there's nothing like nefarious that if someone grabbed my phone now,
like the phone of any teenager or a young adult over 21, there might be some images there that
like
perhaps...
you and I weren't sexting last night.
No,
that's not on there.
Never sexting, I want to say, ever again. Or once.
Oh, again.
Or
wait,
once.
Wait, again.
No.
Freudian?
Yes, very Freudian.
Oh, okay. So, just to kind of back up what I just said here, in the initial reports, this is according to one article we were reading here, initial reports, there was no mention of MAGA. Police statement provided to People magazine. So People magazine, it says, when detectives followed up with him later in the day, he recalled the offenders making those comments, and detectives completed a supplemental report.
And there's 16 detectives. They're looking at 1 million different cameras,
Right.
What are they called?
Like CCTV or closed capture, closed circuit cameras.
Surveillance cameras. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Brain.
Also
I'm on about a 5-second delay these days.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So then we won't hear swears anymore.
No. I very rarely anyway. Surveillance.
But you can bleep those out before it actually comes out. I'll hit the button.
We don't have a button. There is no button here. Okay. And on podcasts, by the way, it flips me out a little bit.
You can swear.
Yeah.
Yeah. We could do a whole podcast about why people feel the need to have to just use foul language.
Yeah. We could do that if we decided to.
Actually, let's do something on that.
I'll be happy to.
Okay. But anyway,
we all know the words. And where's George Carlin when you need him, right?
Those
words. 7 words. We all know what those words are. We are adults.
Yes,
They're
we are.
adult words.
Right.
But I like to think of myself as a little bit more intelligent than most adults.
So you don't need to do the swears to fill time.
I think that there's other ways to say things.
I agree
granted,
with you. But that's for another podcast.
Okay, there's certain words that have double meanings, nouns, verbs. I mean, it's kind of funny.
Oh, now it's a grammar lesson.
Yes, of course. And I think that the English language is declining anyway. Nobody speaks properly anymore.
Right. But, why is it? Okay, so we can't definitively say that this story by this Hollywood star actor, I don't know if you call him a star, but he's a Hollywood actor. You can't definitively say that this is not a true story, but there's a cloud of suspicion hovers over it. And if you read some of the comments, when I was doing some research for this segment, people are saying, oh, we know where this is headed. Made up, fake.
Oh, they already were calling it out. Interesting.
Comments.
Is it because he's as an actor and he's looking for more publicity for his show or himself? He's a singer too, right?
I believe he does do. I mean, usually that's actors, they're artists as well. And
but what's the one thing that both of us heard about and looked at each other and said, "Wait a second." They put a rope tied like a noose around his neck.
That was part of the allegations that these people who attacked him also, as they were making these racially charged statements to him, that they also they wrapped a rope around his neck. And then they poured unknown chemical substance on him, which it's believed to be bleach.
Okay. Which burns your skin. And then, as I pointed out, the FBI, they're attacking this as a possible or investigating this as a possible hate crime. Right.
But you're right. There are some gaps. There's some problems with the rope thing.
Well, because I think they have video of him with the rope around his neck, walking back into the building where he lives.
Right.
Now, if I had a rope around my neck, I just got attacked, wouldn't it be like the first thing you
take off? Exactly.
And I understand a noose, they can tighten it up and it's difficult.
Yeah,
and it was really cold. It was really cold.
Yeah, but I don't know that I would walk around with even if it's tight or whatever, I wouldn't be walking around with that and then take it off later. I will struggle to get that thing off from around my neck, because then the thinking is, if those guys did that to me, there might be other people. The rope is already there all tight, and the next ones will just yank on the rope and step on me, and that's the end of it. Lights out.
There's enough now that has put reasonable doubt in the average person's brain,
right,
that this may have been made up.
Right. And again, we don't know that yet.
No, actually,
but there's enough
right.
There's enough suspicion around this case, because again, if something like this happened to me and people were shouting something, that's significant. Something that everyone would automatically attach a motive to what they were saying. That would have been one of the first things that unless I was out of it, which he wasn't, we don't think, unless I was out of it, it's probably one of the first things I would have told the cops.
Yeah, there you go. And now the cops have that rope, which has at least his DNA on it.
And should have other DNA.
Unless they wore gloves,
right,
Dan.
Right,
which,
Unless. But
by the way, have you checked the temperatures in Chicago lately?
Yeah, they probably had gloves on.
They were wearing gloves. Okay.
But you would have to... he would have had to have been thinking this through to provide sort of the clean or get some fingerprint. Who knows? But, this is not unusual. We've seen this happen with other people who are sort of, celebrities who have made up stories.
To cover their backsides.
Exactly.
And you notice I didn't use that other word.
Right. Yes,
because
I know you did.
I think there are other words you can use besides ass.
And you're on 5-minute delay, 5-second delay, and so
5-minute delay.
Right,
would be great. A lot of people
that would be
really
a lot of
enjoy
dead
that.
air, right?
That's right. I think it's also important we actually do a timestamp on this recording.
Yes,
that it's February 1st, Friday, a little after 1:00. Am I right?
Oh, really? But why are we doing a timestamp?
Because this story will evolve over the next few days, and unless these podcasts could be listened to in a week or 2 weeks from now,
right? And
everybody could be laughing at us saying, they obviously didn't know the story.
Right.
Well,
no, you're right.
We know as much as anyone knows
right now.
At the time 1st.
of right,
there
exactly. So I always scratch my head. You kind of understand this when people who are not celebrities, who aren't on television, who aren't well known, when they pull stunts because they want to become famous. But I'm always scratching my head why famous people or semi-famous people would do something like that. Why would they make something up?
Okay.
What's in it?
So I'm going to tell you.
Beyond just covering your backside.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
And I think you can relate to this theory of mine, because it is only a theory of being around people in the media for the last 40 years.
Should I provide some soundtrack music for this?
No.
Does it require it?
I call it TV-itis.
Okay. Oh.
I believe that when you are on the small screen on a regular basis, the television versus the motion picture
and I said
screen.
Hollywood. He may be based out of sometimes.
Well,
TV's
Chicago is where the story is shot and all this.
Right. But usually the company that's producing it is out of Hollywood. So it's a blanket Hollywood rap.
So the point being, there are times when you are on camera and you have become a public figure that everything feeds that ego part of our humanity, and we are weak beings. I mean, and if people keep telling you, you're a star, we love you, we love you, and then you might run into some people that, who the hell are you? I've never watched your show. I have no idea what you're saying. And then all of a sudden it's like, maybe I'm not as big a star as I think I am.
Right.
And therefore I need to, build my image. Now, if this is a hoax, Dan, this is one of the worst ones ever. Because there's
because of the political part.
And
once you start
how
throwing
raw people's emotions are right now.
You're screaming fire in a crowded.
100%,
right, exactly.
100%.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
And that's, if he's thinking that, this will be a great little publicity, at some point he has to put a little, thought into this.
Right.
This will be a great publicity stunt if we pull this off, right?
You're right. Yeah. Because when you first said that, I'm like, I think there are probably more egregious ones out there. But when you think of it in totality, all the different aspects of this and how divided the country is right now.
You know what it reminds me of? The Charles Stewart case.
Oh, yes. Here in
Boston. Remember that?
Yep. That was on the bridge.
Yep.
It was a photographer from Channel 5 who I worked with
That's right.
who was there, who got that shot
That's
with him,
right.
as he said it was the black man.
Right.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Guess not.
No, it wasn't. No, I mean, and I think you're right. Your first point about even famous people, they need a cover if they're involved in something that
embarrassing.
They don't. It's exactly.
And that's the thing.
Exactly.
Dan. Nobody likes to be embarrassed in the public.
No.
Okay, but
I don't like to be embarrassed at all.
Right.
In the private.
Right. No.
Yeah.
Well, I get
because my
embarrassed.
daughter embarrassed me by beating me in Pac-Man.
Oh, that is embarrassing.
Yes,
no,
it was
it's
really
not.
bad. But then I finally beat her again. So
all right,
it's embarrassing for her now.
I love the fact that. Does she know what Pac-Man even is?
Yeah,
I think that's very cool.
It's cool, man. It's throwback games
Love
we do
it.
in the house.
Is Asteroids around still?
That one is.
How about Pong? That was the first game.
Now that's going way back. No, because Pong is not exciting.
No,
it was exciting at the time because it was the first thing we've. Oh, look! You can make a little white dot go across there, and you can move a line up and down and pretend it's a paddle.
That's right.
And that was it.
Yeah.
You couldn't even move the paddle around. You could just go up and down, up and down.
And that was entertainment.
That was that was real entertainment, man.
It's the human
but yeah,
brain.
we do get embarrassed.
And we try to avoid that for the most part as much as possible.
Right. Yes, we do. And that leads people off sometimes to do things that are out of the ordinary.
Yes.
And in order to cover the embarrassment, as you pointed out, or the second point being to keep your name out there.
Yep.
You got to
guess
do things, you got to get attention.
I'm going to guess that the Charles Stewart case comes up in the news cycle over the next few days.
I think I would agree with you on that.
And who said it first?
Jimmy?
Thank you very much.
Man, Jimmy, you are just...
Don't embarrass me.
You are...
I'll blush.
I won't embarrass you, Jimmy.
Fair enough.
But this, I think it's, this is one of those, oftentimes when we're having a discussion on our show here, we know how it, we know the ending. It's
we
like
think we know.
Right. No, what I'm saying in this case, we don't necessarily
Correct.
know how it will end, but we feel like it's going down, like the car is slipping on an icy road and it will hit something at the bottom of the road.
I've got reasonable doubt about the truth of this story now.
And people have been put away for life on reasonable doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's right.
Okay. If you like this episode, let us know. Like us on Facebook. Use the hashtag Behind the Media to engage with us on Twitter. And if you have any questions, comments, you want to talk to Jimmy about, his theories on life, then reach out at info@littlepartmedia.com. That's info@littlepartmedia.com. These doorbells have eyes, but are they protecting you or invading your privacy? Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Behind the Media. I'm Dan Lothian.
And I'm Jimmy Young.
We find the interesting in media so you don't have to go searching for it. Like us on Facebook, use the hashtag Behind the Media to engage with us on Twitter, and listen on iTunes, iHeartRadio, and the CLNS Media Network. Today's episode is powered by Away, thoughtful standards for modern travel. Away makes suitcases for the way we all travel, with features like an ejectable TSA-approved battery. They also come in a range of colors and materials that suit your travel style. For $20 off a suitcase, visit awaytravel.com and enter promo code CLNS. So videos, cops, and Big Brother. We've talked about how those in-home audio devices are a little scary, Jimmy. It was a few weeks ago on one of our podcasts. We were talking about that. Echo and Alexa and...
There's rogue AI devices in your home.
They send files all over the place, and next thing you know, you're listening into conversations that you should not be listening into. Well, this one's a little different now. We're talking about those doorbells that have cameras. And you can actually, there are commercials, you see them where you can,
great commercials.
Yeah, you can monitor someone coming up to your door and stealing your packages.
I love that. I love the fact that you're stealing your packages, and also when in that commercial where they said, "I would run now if I were you."
Right. And I've never stolen packages off someone's doorstep, but let's say I decided I'm going to go steal packages off a doorstep.
They're there.
Would you run if you heard a voice talking to you? I mean, I guess a certain percentage would, but if you get how this all works, if you know that these doorbells, somebody's on vacation somewhere in the Bahamas and they're talking to you, why would you run? It's like, so what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Catch me?
Enjoy your time in the Bahamas, but you're not going to have any stuff in your house when you get back.
Exactly. I mean, I could see if you see someone stealing now, you can hit the button and the community patrol will come by and snag the person. I get that, but I mean, real criminals aren't going to run when somebody talks to them on a little box.
Right. No, I agree. If they really, you know this, Dan.
Yes.
If you really want to get into somebody's house,
Yes.
there are so many ways.
Wait, what do you mean you know this, Dan?
Because you're a smart guy. You know how to
I thought, what,
provide
like
security
I have some
for
kind
your
of
house.
experience
No, but you've got
crawling
kids.
into
You
people's houses?
provide security measures for your kids in your
yes.
house.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yes. So I know from a user standpoint
Right.
that there are various pieces of technology that you can use to
Right.
protect your property.
Motion lights.
Motion lights.
Kind of, if you're,
Right.
sneaking around a dark house and all of a sudden the lights go on,
Bingo.
that's going to freak you out a little bit.
Yeah, we have those.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have those too.
Yes.
But I don't have a talking doorbell.
I don't have a talking doorbell, and I do have a problem with this whole issue. And we've often talked about not only how technology is changing the way we operate and the things we allow, the closeness that we have with technology, but there are real issues of privacy. It's who is getting. It's not just about you scaring off the bad guy or the bad woman. The other day I saw a woman, actually, a guy drives up in a car, the woman gets out in high heel shoes, goes up and steals a package and then jumps back in the car.
You saw this?
I didn't see it. I saw the video.
Oh, okay.
I saw the video of this. It went viral.
If she was in sneakers, would it have mattered?
High heel shoes made it a different. Like a woman, it's just like
Women
really
do love their shoes. They love their shoes.
They happen to be on the way to someplace that, hey, look, a package, let's steal. I mean, you don't go out and start stealing stuff wearing high heel shoes unless she's the high heel bandit.
Ooh,
that would be a good one. But I think it's beyond just the criminal coming and trying to take something off your doorstep. But whose camera will you show up on?
Right.
And all of these issues that now they're even issue. I think it's Amazon. Who was it that Amazon filed for a patent for this controversial face recognition thing that can be built into these security
right.
doorbells.
Get you into the house with your face.
Yeah. So
unless somebody's holding your head in their hand.
but you can if someone is standing. I mean, I guess the theory behind this is that if somebody comes to your door, it will automatically flag someone as suspicious because it will recognize the face and say whatever it says. It looks into some bank somewhere and finds out you were arrested when you were a teenager for stealing bubblegum.
Right. Facial recognition is a interesting security. Anybody who's gone through customs now knows that's an option.
Right.
Too.
Right. But this is a little scary. Now, you're walking along down your street and all of a sudden, some camera gets on someone's doorbell, picks up something about you. And we talked about gait recognition as well, happening in China. It picks something up, and it then realizes for some reason that you're suspicious, and who knows what comes of it.
Well, I was going to say, especially if some of those devices are tied into the local authorities.
Exactly.
Like you could actually check in. I'm sure you know how you can stop your mail online. Right. We never get our mail anyway. Anyway, so, long story.
Yes.
We do not have to go there.
Yes.
Point being, though, you can probably let the local authorities know that we will be away for the next week. So keep an eye on the house or whatever.
So now all of a sudden you're sort of in cahoots with law enforcement. While it's good for security's sake, how far should you go to share your media devices with law enforcement? I think that's the discussion around privacy that a lot of people are having now.
And Dan, when you go on to Facebook or Instagram or whatever social media you might follow, you tend to document what you're up to.
Oh, yeah. Footprints.
Yeah.
Fingerprints.
Hey, I'm heading out of town for the next 9 days.
That's all it is.
Just so you know.
Exactly. So if you want to come by and take anything, now's the time.
Right.
So this was an interesting article from the Washington Post, and it was written by Jeffrey Fowler. And I wonder if I went to high school with a Jeffrey Fowler.
Did he spell it that way?
Yes, actually he did.
Oh.
And maybe I'll check it out. It could be someone I know.
Could be him.
But he pointed out in this opinion piece that it's we're on a slippery slope. And the reason is because there are some cases where police are setting up voluntary, you talked about this, Jimmy, voluntary registries for private cameras in dozens of communities. So you can register your camera and essentially give
a neighborhood network.
Yeah, so you're giving police access to your camera for security's sake. Some cities, such as Washington, which I don't think
it's Washington D.C.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is it's a city, but it's the
district.
district. But anyway, whatever.
It was your hood, man. It's where you-
It was. Well, yeah, I didn't live there.
It was your office
It was
space.
more expensive actually to
I
live
understand.
in Washington, so I lived in Virginia, which was
Nice.
cheaper than even living in Maryland.
I understand.
But they've begun. Some cities have begun paying up to $500 for cameras on private property. So not only are some of your own personal cameras, such as these doorbell cameras, being used for investigative reasons, but now they're coming to you and saying, can we put a camera on your property for whatever reason, and we'll pay you for it? And the money is blinding people to some of these privacy concerns that
Right.
you're just, it's just a little
unless you control when the camera is on or not. If it's up to you, it's similar to how you put your settings on your phone.
Right.
Do you want these notifications or don't you want these notifications? Or do you want to just turn off your phone? What a novel idea.
Yeah, how much faith, though, do you have in these kinds of systems that, like even with my camera, you know, the whole thing that there was someone, the CIA director or someone from intelligence was asked about whether some hackers could get into your cameras on your devices.
Right, and eavesdrop on you.
And eavesdrop
Like
on you.
Alexa,
Or watch
like we
you
said, right.
doing something, whatever
right.
you're doing.
Yeah.
And he said, his answer was, I put tape on my cameras.
Right,
On
I
his
remember
laptop
that.
and
I
so
remember
forth.
that.
That was how he answered. So it's like, wait. These intelligence people, they know something that we don't know. So even when you, in theory, have turned something off, is it really off?
Right. And
You know?
basically, if you really want to know what I'm doing behind closed doors, listen to my other podcast called In the Weeds.
Yeah, that's what you're doing behind closed doors. So last month, according to the same article, Ring, which is the company, which, by the way, I think Shaquille O'Neal has an interest in it. He's certainly a spokesperson, and he put Ring on the map.
Yeah.
He made Ring rung. And so,
Ooh, I like that.
anyway, they got caught allowing their team in Ukraine to view certain user videos. So they somehow got into a collection of videos that they weren't supposed to be getting into. So your own private videos that you, I guess, record from people coming to your door or whatever.
Right.
Again, it could be just random people showing up to visit your friends. It could be
Halloween. It could be Halloween.
It could be someone coming to your house that you don't want someone else to know about. But nonetheless, they had they had access to this video. And because they basically said that they only have access and will only look at those that are publicly shared. They don't go into your private videos, but apparently in this case they did. There's also a California family, according to this article, their Nest camera let a hacker take over and broadcast fake audio warnings about a missile attack, not to mention peer in on them.
So here's the thing about electronics.
Wow, that's a little
that is
scary.
Crazy. So
That
here's
is
the thing
scary.
about spying.
Yes.
Okay, and
Is
eavesdropping.
this where you're going to talk about how you once were a spy?
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
I thought you were.
No. But I mean, you still have the right to not bring in these devices to your house. You still have the right to put tape over your cameras on your electric devices. So, you know, if you do bring them in, these are some of the things you're going to have to perhaps think about.
Right.
And Dan, we know this. I use sports as an analogy all the time. If you don't think athletes in the professional world are using performance-enhancing drugs still, you have no clue.
Yeah.
Because the chemists are always ahead of the testers.
Right.
And the criminals always know how to get around walls and securities.
And so in this case, criminals or even legit investigative elements will find ways to utilize the technology that's out there. And again, I think that's important to warn people that you can't complain about privacy if you decide that you're going to welcome these devices into your home. And it's not to say that, you know, the crimes have been solved. The audio of a spouse, I think, killing a wife, that was caught in one and was used to convict someone.
Good.
There have been obviously people caught stealing things off doorsteps. So there are important reasons to have this technology, but you know, when people have access to your media,
Right.
Whether it's audio or video, then you have to think very carefully about what kind of content, personal content you will be producing on an ongoing basis that someone might have access to.
Right. Absolutely. And that, people are inquiring minds sometimes want to know. We have a curiosity factor in our brain.
Curiosity killed the cat.
I did hear that.
Yes.
Did you know the cat?
I don't know the cat at all, unless it was my cat, which got killed a number of years ago.
Well,
so
see, if you
it
had
could have
one
been
of these
curiosity,
devices,
actually.
if you had one of these devices,
I would have known.
You would have known what happened.
That's right.
I have one thing to say. All right, this is the only thing I have to say right
Yes,
now.
what do you have to say?
I'm not even going to say it.
Okay.
Let's see.
Oh, nice. There you go.
Remember those days, folks? That's called a doorbell.
Right. And now the doorbell has eyes. So be careful what your doorbell is seeing and how it could potentially see too much and then say too much.
Like now, I have to figure out how to turn it off.
If you like this episode, let us know. Like us on Facebook. Use the hashtag #BehindTheMedia to engage with us on Twitter. And if you have any questions or comments, drop us a line at info@littleparkmedia.com. That's info@littleparkmedia.com. Hello, it is halftime. We like halftime. The fire is nice and warm and toasty. Well, no, it isn't. It's just a virtual fire that we have here in our studio. But as I've always pointed out, virtual fires keep me warm. Because isn't a lot of what you feel what you see?
Oh, absolutely. Your brain is dictating pretty much everything that goes on in your body.
I mean, I told you that one time when I saw the little spark go up, and I actually thought it was going to. Yeah, I jumped. I thought it was going to get me.
Okay,
anyway,
all right.
Today's episode is powered by Away, thoughtful standards for modern travel. Away makes suitcases for the way we all actually travel, with features like an ejectable TSA-approved battery, a built-in front pocket, and a range of colors and materials that suit your travel style or any outfit that you might be wearing, like Jimmy does. Away suitcases you would want to match your suitcase with your outfit, wouldn't you? You seem like
I wouldn't even know what the color is on the bag
in
my outfit. It just doesn't. It does not compute.
Doesn't
in my
compute.
brain.
But you do like a nice suitcase.
Yes, I do.
And Away offers suitcases that are made from lightweight, durable German polycarbonate or aluminum alloy. So lifting bags onto a plane, into an overhead, into the back of your car will be made much easier. The interior compression system lets you pack more, which is great if you have someone who takes too much for too short a trip. They come with.
I overpack.
You overpack.
Yes, I do.
I like
choices.
Underpack.
I like choices when I'm on the road.
I went to Italy for 2.5 weeks and had just one little carry-on, but I knew how to roll the clothes.
Yeah, but
one carry-on.
How many pairs of underwear did you? Did you do
did
laundry on a regular basis?
Yes, we had to do the laundry in the sink thing.
Okay, laundry in the sink.
Yeah, because we knew that we were going to be on the go,
right.
And schlepping a lot of stuff around was not going to work for us. So we had one suitcase, and I wish I had an Away bag, which has 360-degree spinner wheels, guaranteeing a smooth ride. There's a TSA-approved combination lock and a removable, washable laundry bag. So for $20 off a suitcase, visit awaytravel.com and enter promo code CLNS. Okay, Jimmy. Are you ready to go?
I'm ready
to go. For this one?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I'm Jimmy Young. Oh, sorry.
Not yet.
Okay.
Fighting fake news sounds like a noble venture, but are the good guys being outsmarted? Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Behind the Media. I'm Dan Lothian.
And I'm Jimmy Young.
We find the interesting in media so you don't have to go searching for it. Like us on Facebook. Use the hashtag Behind the Media to engage with us on Twitter. And listen on iTunes, iHeartRadio, and the CLNS Media Network. Today's episode is powered by Away, thoughtful standards for modern travel. Away makes suitcases for the way we all travel, with features like an ejectable TSA-approved battery. And then there's, of course, a range of colors and materials that suit your travel style. For $20 off a suitcase, visit awaytravel.com and enter promo code CLNS. So we also always say that criminals...
I just said it.
Yeah,
the last podcast.
You did. Yeah, on the last podcast, you talked about criminals always find a way when you put up a roadblock. When you catch them doing one thing, they figure out a way to get around it.
Correct.
Right?
It's a challenge for them.
Right.
Too.
There's always a back door. Right. And so that's kind of at the heart of this story. Fake news. Fake news has been talked. Yeah, here we go again. Fake news.
We
didn't
like that word when we first started this
we
podcast.
We didn't like that. I think, didn't we make an oath that we weren't going to say?
No, you did.
Oh. And then you did. Then we decided not to abide by it.
I just follow your lead, Dan.
Yeah. Oh, was that what it was?
Yeah. Of course.
Okay. So anyway, there is. Everyone's trying to everyone. These large social media platforms Exhibit A would be Facebook, has been trying to figure out a way to get rid of, to cleanse the social media platform of fake news.
Curate content.
To uncurate.
Or uncurate content. Okay.
Stephen, do you think they're doing a good job in getting fake news out of Facebook? No. Okay. Yeah. Our millennial weighs in, says they're not doing a good job. He, of course, would know because millennials tend to spend more time on social media than us.
Except for our millennial.
Our millennial, okay. Yeah, who oftentimes will just sort of shrug when something has been going viral and he missed out on it. But anyway, so they've been coming up with various different algorithms or, whatever it is, roadblocks, technological roadblocks that make it much more difficult for things that are fake in fake content to keep going viral on the platform. So there's a series of fact-checking, so they tie in with fact-checking operations, they get flagged, all kinds of things. But now we're finding out that, well, it doesn't really matter. There's some easy ways to just get around the system.
It's like I said about the house break. If people want to break into your system or break into your house, and they're professionals. There are people out there that actually do this
for a living.
Okay, I'm sorry, but that's what turns them on. That's right. Maybe that's how they make a living because they, break into banks. I don't know. It is the cheaters always find a way.
Right.
And, we got a few examples. Now, you talked about Facebook for a second.
Right.
This all stems from the Cambridge Analytica breach that started a couple years ago.
That's what kind of started that.
That's right. And then the social
media... It had
been
talked about.
Right.
And it was always denied. Oh, no.
We protect this. And then they got exposed, and then they got fined.
Right.
Big time fine from Europe. So... They, now what these companies are trying to be so proactive about it that they're actually bringing in staffers, people that are full-time employees to rat out the fake sites that are out there.
Right.
But as you know, tell the rest of the story.
Yes,
man.
but wait, there's more.
More.
There's really an easy way to do it. You can just change the URL.
That's crazy. By the way,
I mean, that's pretty low tech.
Right. I know how to do it.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. If we know how to do it.
That's right.
It's pretty low tech. Right?
I know how to get a URL. I probably owned about 30 of them in my lifetime.
Yeah. And URL doesn't mean like umbrella relaxing lasers.
Yeah. No. It's I actually
what does it stand
for? It was a quiz. Oh, God.
Oh, millennial. Stephen, do you know what URL stands for?
Universal.
License something.
I actually don't know the answer to that.
Yeah. Universal Registry
Licensing.
License?
I don't know. Well, Stephen will look it up.
Yeah, he'll look
and let us know.
That's an easy one.
While we continue to tell the story. So
URL.com.
Well,
I don't know.
What does com stand for? Communication?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I don't know that.
I don't know that. I'm just making.
I actually don't know.
I'm going to
We use a lot of things, and we don't know. We just say, oh yeah, .com URL.
Right now, it's .co. It's also .uk.
Yeah, I get those like the .business and
.biz,
.news
.tv,
and all
.net.
those.
Yep,
right.
Yep.
So anyway, one of the most they call them the frequent debunked fake news publishers. So this is a company that puts out a lot of fake news.
This is a company. Hang on a second.
Yeah.
This is a company that is putting out fake news for
a living.
A business.
This is what they do.
Their service.
We're going to put
out.
About it.
Do they get hired by somebody to do this?
No, I think they get clicks and they make money by selling ads. I guess I don't know what they're
fake sites.
Yeah, they just
Wow.
people pick it up and run it on real site. Like they pick it up and then it's got sent around. So I don't know enough about it to where I could say, oh, it's politically driven. There's an agenda behind it, other than they're looking to get eyeballs so that they can make money because you can sell access to eyeballs.
Yes,
okay, so Stephen's raising his hand over there. Stephen, have you figured out what a URL is? We know what it is, what it stands for. The actual.
It stands for Universal Resource Locator.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Correct.
That makes sense now.
I remember that question
Universal
on a quiz I gave.
Resource Locator.
Right.
You did the quiz, by the way, right? Like you put the quiz together?
I created the quiz.
You created the quiz.
It was in the textbook. This is a great
so
test
how do you
for
expect,
kids.
So how do you expect the students to remember the stuff, Steve?
Because I put it up on the board, and I say anything I put up on the dry erase board is going to be on a quiz.
No. But you want them, the reason you're teaching it to them is so that they, when they're asked this question on a podcast,
they'll know.
They'll know.
Right.
But el instructor
Oh, do as I say, not as I do.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
That's what okay.
Come on. Is that really what you were going for?
That's what I was going
for. It wasn't a deep reach for me, Dan. I got no problem admitting that.
So basically, there was this company in the fall, Your News Wire, and they're, according to this article, one of the most infamous misinformers on the internet. And
boy, that's something to be proud of.
Yes,
that's on your business card.
So
you want some misinformation, folks? You hire us.
So they migrated the site and rebranded as News Punch, and apparently it doesn't really matter what the fact checkers have done to flag their content. They just simply changed the URL, and then it was discovered that their content was still being sent, still showing up on the feed, not being taken down on Facebook, and still being shared widely as real content around the internet.
Okay. This story bothers me, but again, I don't know how you stop it. You can't license the internet.
Right.
You can't. Do you need, maybe we're selling URLs for too cheap.
Yeah, raise the price. But they're making so much money they can afford it. And here's just more specifically, this is according to Pointer Institute out of St. Pete, Florida. They found that Your Newswire content was still getting a large reach on Facebook despite being debunked at least 80 times by Facebook fact checkers.
And then the next sentence
is,
of the 45 flagged stories that were identified, at the time, 12 are still active. They're still active on News Punch's site with the same headline.
Yeah. I think, here is the big problem with the technology that we currently have, the social media, I'm talking about social media platforms, is that the best way to fight against something, is that you create the firewalls, if you will, as you're building it. Like, if you build something and then you realize, we have this big issue, now let's figure out a way to fix it, you're doing it backwards. What you need to do is anticipate all the potential problems as you're creating the product. So it is part of the DNA of what it is that you're creating. And it's much easier at that point, whatever that is, it's much easier, I think, to fight off these foreign elements that are coming in, right? And I'm not talking about immigration here. I'm talking about, negative things that are being bombarded at your site. Here's a good example, and it's not in the same industry, but it's a way that I like to think about it. Have you ever flown El Al?
Yes.
Okay.
I have been to the Promised Land.
You have been.
Yes,
I've been to the Promised Land a couple of times.
Yeah, very cool.
And
and let me tell you, folks, if you haven't visited
the Promised Land,
it's got to be a bucket list thing, not a blacklist.
I
told you, I got a head cold. Whatever.
But I, for those of you who may not be sort of biblically inclined, the Promised Land refers to Israel. Because there may be some out there who don't know what we're talking about. But
I have an amazing story to tell.
Yes.
I'm sorry, about Israel.
Yeah.
Okay. So my significant other is in advertising, and they were on it's a worldwide company, TMP Worldwide. I'll give them a plug, I guess. Maybe I shouldn't, but whatever.
We'll hear
too bad.
from them.
She doesn't listen to it anyway.
No, she does, actually.
Oh, she comments. She doesn't listen.
Oh, well, no. Thank you, Jimmy, for now spilling the beans to everybody. Anyway, you'll have a real good weekend there,
She
Jimmy.
doesn't need to listen to me on tape. She has me live.
Oh,
lucky
man.
her.
Yes, which is what she does. She says, I'm listening to you, but I really am not.
I'm not going to name the European auto manufacturer.
Right.
But when they showed a map of the Middle East, they showed where Israel is. They substituted Palestine.
Oh, interesting.
No. Upsetting.
In other
words, we don't know. We at this auto manufacturer do not believe that Israel exists, so we're just going to make it Palestine.
Right. Or it was somebody who didn't even know the difference between Palestine, Israel, or any other name.
Fair enough.
Believe me, I was talking to someone one time.
Nobody looks at maps anymore.
We were talking about Pakistan, and they called it Palestine. And they said, Palestine, Pakistan, what's the difference?
Oh, 10,000 miles.
There's a huge difference. But anyway, the reason we're going down the Holy Land Road is that when I first flew, it was after 9/11, and I was working at NBC. I was sent to Egypt to cover the Arab view of what had happened in the United States, the reaction. And so I had to fly from Cairo than to Jerusalem, Tel Aviv. And
wait, from Cairo, you can't. Okay, keep going.
What?
Because I didn't think you could fly.
You could fly
to Israel.
Yes,
from a country that doesn't.
We
think
flew,
they exist.
I flew to Cairo, but part of getting there was pretty crazy.
Right.
So you go to the airport, and this is part of the protocol, except when you're flying from Cairo, it was even more intense.
Right.
You basically were doing musical chairs with the gate that you were departing from. You sit down, you're departing from gate 3. All right, we're sitting here. All of a sudden, 30 minutes before, we switched it to gate 7. And they switch you there, and it was all part of the security measure. And then they would sweep. They were constantly sweeping under the seats and everything. It gets to the point where you feel as if I might get arrested for something, even though I didn't do anything, because it was scary. Like you were getting all worked up. But anyway, the reason we're talking about this is because when you get on the plane, El Al, to fly to, first of all, it's far removed from, they do not park it right next to the gate. They park it way out in the middle of the tarmac and then have lights on it, and they're surrounding it with security. When you're on that plane, what do you notice that's different from any other plane that you have flown on?
Besides the armed guards?
Well, yeah. Well, they might have. But there is something that they have done that no other airline, I believe, has ever done, or continues to do, or has ever done in the past at all. I mean, I've flown on most, certainly all the domestic ones, a lot of the international ones. I have never seen it.
I don't know what it is, Dan. I mean, I could say something foolish or stupid.
No, it's not foolish.
No. It would be coming out of my mouth, so it would be foolish, okay? Sorry.
There is a door that, so if you come on the plane where you normally enter in the front.
Right.
If you go to the left, there's the cockpit. There's a door there that you can't, if they have it locked, you can go in.
Yeah.
If you go to the right, there's no door, right? You just go into the cabin.
Right.
They have a door that they can close that separates you, the passenger, from the galley area that then leads into the cockpit.
So it's a double door protection.
Yes, but wait, there's more.
Of course there is.
That door has been installed at an angle. Most doors, when they close, they're flush. It's just it's right across. It is at an angle, the door. When they close it, it closes like this. Why do you think it's like that?
Because you can't push it open?
You can't kick it open.
Or kick
How
it
do you
open?
kick something when your foot is glancing off of it? If there is no solid, solid wall for you to kick and punch through.
Wow.
Because as you kick it, you'll just slide to the direction that it's angled at.
Seems to me that would be a good security measure for a
For
lot of airlines.
Exactly.
I'm just saying.
So the question might be, why am I saying this?
Yes, Dan. Why are you saying this?
Because at the very beginning of El Al, they built an airline with the knowledge and certainly the forethought and the expectation that someone would be trying to blow them out of the air.
That's their nature. That's how they live. You know that.
Exactly.
You know, if you've been to Israel, you know that's a part of their existence.
Exactly.
Everybody around us wants us to die and be not.
That's
we don't
exactly
exist.
Right.
And it goes down to their state airlines.
So, with the knowledge that bad stuff could happen, as they were creating the airline, they said, "Let's put this stuff in there, even though nothing has happened. Let's put it in there." Because we know someone will try to attack us.
It's a preventative measure,
Exactly.
and they go to the 10th and nth degree.
Exactly. So my question is this. Why didn't Facebook put the double cabin slanted door into the fiber of Facebook when it was being created, as opposed to trying to install after-factory stuff now that can be circumvented?
I'm going to guess it would cost more money to do it that way, Dan.
Exactly. It costs more money, number one. And the number two thing is that when technology was moving at such a rapid pace that everyone got caught up in the glory and the money of this new thing. And no one, I can't say no one, but in general, the conversation wasn't about what are the dangers here? Who are the people who are going to use this as a platform to send misinformation around? Who are the people who are going to influence, campaigns and elections with this? It wasn't part of the discussion. Certainly from our vantage point, it wasn't something that was being talked about. All that was being talked about was, this is really cool. I can share my baby pictures. And if you own a piece of the company, you can make a boatload of money.
Yes. Well, that's America. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And, you can decide whether it's great or not now.
Yeah. But But I think that's why we are in this situation where it's so difficult for them to be able to say, okay, we've put these things in place and people keep finding the back door. And yes, criminals will always find a back door, but it's much easier, I think, to do that if you didn't plan for some of these things at the beginning.
I agree, Dan. I'm with you on that one.
And so do you agree or you disagree? Let us know. Like this episode, like Facebook, use the hashtag Behind the Media to engage with us on Twitter. And if you have any questions or comments, reach out to us at info@littlepartmedia.com. That's info@littlepartmedia.com. Okay, it's the fourth quarter and time for Bites Behind the Media. Reporters who freeze to bring you the story, TV for free in an app, and wild claims from the president linked to a movie. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Bites Behind the Media. I'm Dan Lothian.
And I'm Jimmy Young.
We find the interesting in media so you don't have to go searching for it. Like us on Facebook, use the hashtag Behind the Media to engage with us on Twitter, and listen on iTunes, iHeartRadio, and the CLNS Media Network. Today's episode is powered by Away, thoughtful standards for modern travel. Away makes suitcases for the way we all travel with TSA-approved batteries or built-in front pockets or a range of colors and materials that will suit your travel style. For $20 off a suitcase, visit awaytravel.com and enter promo code CLNS. Okay, Jimmy, first up in our Bites Behind the Media. You know, when during the hurricane season, we made fun of some of these reporters. We have in the past made fun of reporters who stand out there and get blown around. Some of them fake news.
Yeah. Come on. It's windy out, so they're outside trying to show you the wind.
There was that one guy who was standing there blowing around, and you see a couple of guys walking in the background in shorts saying, woohoo, nice day out here.
Yeah.
But the question we always get, and I've covered a lot of storms, both the hurricane wet ones and also the cold ones.
Yep.
But the question that often comes from the viewers is, why do you have to be in it? To tell me about it.
Because you're doing what you're told. That's really the first reason.
Yes, that's a good one.
The second reason.
That's the most important one because that signs your check.
That's right. It shows how real the weather is in a human way.
But we know what cold is. Cold is cold.
Oh, wait. Are you going to tell me now that you think that our fellow news people, I mean, they're there to educate us and inform us, Dan.
But do I need to see them freezing in order to understand that it's freezing?
Better than you and me anymore.
Well, true. But there's been some discussion again.
Did you see Al Roker on the Coast Guard ice cutter boat?
I did not. Tell me about it.
He was on one of the Great Lakes, I think it was in Chicago.
Was it like an icebreaker
Michigan
kind of thing?
He was on an icebreaker for the Coast Guard. That's where he did his live weather the last couple of days from Chicago.
Now,
how about that? That's a great assignment. Hey, Al, we understand it's going to be 50 to below zero.
Right.
Go to Chicago.
I know. Let's throw you into the coldest spot.
Tell us what it's like, but that's what you're talking about.
Right, but okay, so that one, it may be a little, if you can show me something that I otherwise couldn't see. So I'm going to take you out on a boat that's chopping up ice in order for, ships and other things to come by. You can argue there's a little bit more legitimacy to that. You have to go out there and interview people as they're chopping up the ice.
Right.
But what about those random stand-ups where it's like, I remember there was a station I worked at. We had the rooftop camera for weather.
Yeah.
And so if it's freezing outside, it's snowing, whatever, you just go up on the rooftop and you freeze your butt off and then you come back in where it's nice and warm. But you did that. It really is
in the elements. It's reality television.
It's for effect. It's for effect. And that's the behind the media secret here, that
of course
really you don't have to go out there. You don't have to be outside. You don't have to pick up snow and throw it. You don't have to take a pot of water and throw it into the air.
By the way,
in order to watch it crystallize.
I saw that. That was so cool.
I did it, but not on TV. I did it at home with my kids.
Well, you could
last year I did it.
Yeah, but how cold does it have to be?
So somebody asked me that question because they tried to do it yesterday. It didn't work.
Yeah.
I don't know how cold. It just has to be really cold because it's not just below freezing.
It's going to be below zero.
I think it's probably in the range, but it was one of those below 0 days or zero.
And it was really dry, cold too. So
I don't know what the whole.
So if you put moisture into a dry environment like that, it does make snow.
What it does is, I mean,
Vapor.
you take
vaporizes.
but it doesn't go off the way that if like smoke kind of going off. You throw the pot up, and then it kind of curls over, almost like a waterfall kind of thing, and then it floats up.
Yeah.
Like you see it crystallize.
It was really
it's
cool.
Pretty wild. Yeah,
I saw it. I'm sure it's on YouTube.
But you don't need to go out and do that stuff. Weather people, I know I've done it. You can probably pull up clips of me being stupid in weather.
But just
think,
hang on a second. You do have to go out.
You don't have to.
You're our weatherman. Show me how bad it really is outside.
You know what? The only thing you're doing is entertaining me. You can stand in front of the wall, show me the week numbers and so forth. But if you're out in the elements and just standing there and you're not showing me something that's happening in the elements, it is just entertainment. It's not information.
I am shocked to hear that there's an entertainment value in journalism, Dan.
Are you shocked?
No.
I know you're not. You're being sarcastic.
Extremely sarcastic.
Yes,
it is entertainment. Every time you punch a button to get content, you want to be entertained.
Yeah.
Now, you add the information.
Battle is what you're saying?
You add a little information to it, and then you get yourself a news show.
Oh, that's like putting topping on something, like little frosting on something, and saying it's a wonderful cake.
Any cake with frosting is a wonderful cake, Dan. I'm sorry, that's how I feel.
Okay, why are some people upset about the free app? I don't know if you went into all of the different aspects of this, but basically there is this app that is being used to broadcast what used to be free TV, like the networks.
There's a company that was in Boston that this happened to, and they took it to the Supreme Court and they lost and they went bankrupt. Aereo.
Exactly. That one was a little different in that they were. What was different about
that? They were collecting the signals off the air.
Right. And then they were there was something specific. They were doing something a little different. Then they were turning around and recording it and sending it back to you. I can't remember all the aspects of it, but Lowcast basically streams broadcast TV.
So it's the same thing. You take we remember the days of the rabbit ears.
Right.
Okay. So when you are outside, you can actually get over the air television with a digital antenna without paying. You have to pay for the digital antenna, but it's a one-time cost of $15 to $35. I have one on the back of my TV. I get a great signal.
It doesn't work everywhere well.
Well, it's true.
And you
I only care about my yard.
And if you have a basement apartment, or but now with this app, you can. It's a nonprofit group, by the way, behind this. You can stream.
So they can't go bankrupt.
Right. Well, they're begging for money now.
Right.
They're asking people, hey, give us dimes and quarters or whatever so we can keep going.
But I mean, why would you think, again, Dan, let's go back to the humanity. Let's go a little behind the media here.
Oh, why? Why would we do that?
Okay. The point is there are already free signals available for people who want to capture those signals and actually look at the entertainment that's being transmitted.
Yeah, but you have to go buy the thing. This is free. You just download a free app.
But you're using a phone that you paid for.
Yeah, but you already paid for the phone. So you just now download an app and you can watch this content for free on the go.
So on your phone, it's like you're turning your phone into a over-the-air TV set.
Yeah, pretty much. And then your phone can talk to your TV. So you can with your smartphone, you can project whatever is on your smartphone to your TV, so you can sit back and watch stuff for free.
Right.
That's what's behind it.
Yeah.
And now you have people like the Super Bowl folks say, whoa, wait a minute. Or any big event. The other day were streaming like the Oscars or whatever it may be, so you could watch these big events, and you watch them for free. And so it's become controversial that there are those who believe you're stealing this content. You're taking money out of the pockets of these broadcasters.
Stop right there.
Yes,
That's what you're doing.
What?
The broadcast. You're taking money out of the broadcasters.
Yeah.
I get that too.
Yeah.
But didn't the FCC exist because we wanted to protect the airwaves? Didn't we want to make sure that the airwaves were always going to be free so that we can actually communicate over the air?
Yeah, but that's a thing of the past. Most people are paying for the free over-the-air stuff because it's part of your cable package.
Or they're getting an antenna.
Yeah, and I've had the antenna too, and it works. It works, but
you got to come over and see the signal in my house.
Yeah,
it is on the over-the-air.
That's because you have like 12 of those things set up.
No, I have one.
Okay,
I have one.
Well, you bought the really expensive one. If you buy the half-price one,
$25 one.
That's expensive.
Oh, stop it!
But in some buildings, it doesn't work as well.
That's correct, Dan. Neither does your cell phone.
Well, that's true. You got me on that one. Okay. Where did Trump get the duct tape and prayer rugs?
This is a great story that I didn't do any research on because I didn't have to. Because after
what do you
all,
mean by that?
Well, because that Trump guy's delusional.
Oh,
okay,
no.
so
I always set you up with this. We
Yes,
always
you
put
do.
a segment in here that will make
Plus-
you say the name, and you can talk about how you love him so much.
No.
Yes.
Because I don't. In
Well,
fact,
you
I
do.
abhor the fact that he's our president, as you know. And I'm
This is the Reverend Jimmy segment.
that is you
Yes.
brought it up, so
Yes.
I'm just piling on here, just piling on.
But this is bizarre in that the president tweeted and has been talking recently about how women were duct tape on the border, and that these prayer mats were found out in the Arizona or Texas or wherever it was, presumably by these terrorists that were coming into the country, of course, across the border, and had left them behind, and they were using these mats to pray.
Not every Muslim's a terrorist, right?
No, I know, but I'm trying to,
No, you
I'm
do.
trying as
You're trying to understand
I'm
what
trying
went
to-
through this guy's mind?
No,
That's
I'm trying to pass along the thinking behind some of these theories that have been tossed around,
Yes.
and the president who has bought into some of these theories. So the question is, why does this make it a media story? Is that there are those, it started, I think, on a website somewhere, and then it went like crazy. CNN was reporting it. Fox was, I believe, also reporting this. Certainly MSNBC was reporting it. The reason the president said this is because it was actually in a movie, that he was conflating reality and
the
Hollywood.
reality, according to Donald, is
Yes.
not reality.
That
I'm sorry.
well,
that's
I
love that word, delusional. It
Yes.
so describes his brain. He's just not in the same
Is
planet.
it possible that he was watching a movie and he got, or did he hear, maybe he didn't see the movie, but he heard people talking about the movie and thought that was fact? And I think somebody went through the movie and said point by point, okay, let's see if in fact this does add up with what the president has been talking about. There are some similarities between the two, but the sense was that it was less of the movie itself that gave the president the information and more of just sort of these this misinformation, these made up stories that have been in the political sphere of the extreme for quite some time, and he was tapping into that.
I never can understand what goes on in that between those ears.
Anyway, it's food for thought. Everybody's been talking about
I'll
it.
get
Did
sick
the
to
president
my
gain
stomach.
his foreign policy from a Hollywood movie?
Yes, he did.
Okay, you got anything else there?
I
for us
read
there?
at this point.
Other
I
than
know
your
we can
cold,
talk
how are you
about-
going to deal with your cold? By the way, are you
gonna-
going to just?
I'm going to go take a nap at some point
Oh.
and go get sleep. Sleep and fluids is the best way to get rid of any kind of a cold. And
Oh.
I'm fine. For
It's so
crying out
nice
loud.
that we were able to end on you being the doctor yet again.
All right, but no, we're not going to end on that. We're going to end on the fact that the Patriots are playing the Rams in the Super Bowl.
Right.
Tony Romo and Jim Nantz are making the calls.
Yeah,
And
we're Tony
it's
Romo fans. I thought
absolutely-
I'd get tired of it.
No.
It's pretty good stuff.
It's pretty good stuff, and now he's going to have 120 million people
Watching,
tune in and
he'll
listen
be.
in.
It's amazing. I mean, he sees the future before we do.
Well, I wonder if he's seen the team that wins, because after all,
We should ask him.
Yes.
He's that good that he can tell who won the Super Bowl even before the Super Bowl is played.
there you go.
Actually, we ought to tweet something out about that. He's good at projecting what the teams are going to do. He now has seen the end of this game. Find out who Tony Romo saw win the Super Bowl.
And Tony Romo is a smart enough analyst to know which team to pick in this one. I'm sorry. There's a team in this one that's been there so many times. People are sick of seeing the Patriots in the Super Bowl, except for Patriots fans.
Yeah. I mean, I'm
It's
glad
so-
they're in it, but it's kind of like, okay.
Well, there's a great article about how we've become we are victims of their success.
Yeah.
That my emotional being now is not predicated by the result of the game.
No.
I
Yeah.
will be thrilled if they win, and I will be thrilled if they lose, because they're still the greatest dynasty
They are.
in modern sport.
Yes.
That's not going to change. They've been to 9 Super Bowls out of
It is
18
great,
years,
yeah.
and that is it will never be equaled again. I love the fact that they're comparing it to the Celtics run under Bill Russell, who won, I believe it was 9 titles in a row,
Oh,
and
that's
then a
right.
total of 11 titles overall.
And what about
he
the
never
Bulls?
lost
Weren't
a
the
game.
Bulls on some run back in the day?
Yeah,
Or
but
wasn't
6.
that
They
many?
won 6.
6, yeah.
Ah,
That was pretty good.
17, just in case you're counting at home.
Oh, really?
The Celtics championships.
Wow, that's
17.
That's a whole lot of numbers.
And that's the team that I get emotionally upset about. And I
Really?
walk around with my tissues. Yes, because I get very upset.
Well,
when they
fortunately
don't play
for me,
well.
I don't get emotionally upset about any team out there. Maybe the Jamaican cricket team, but that's for another day.
All right.
Thanks for listening and enjoying this podcast. We know you did because we did. Like it, share it, keep listening on iTunes, iHeartRadio, and the CLNS Media Network. For our director, Steve Helmuth, I'm Dan Lothian.
And I'm Jimmy Young.
And now you know what's behind the media.